Copenhagen is one of the smallest capital cities in Europe. What was once a fishing village by the Øresund has grown to a small metropolis with a big vision. No other city is making its future as green as Copenhagen. The Copenhageners live out their life of progress and creativity with complete ease. It's time for breakfast at the Wilsted Christiansen family home. Only a few minutes from the town centre, Mette and her husband Kent live with their son Laust on an old sailing yacht. They traded in their flat for 3 cabins.
People are always asking how many square meters we have on board, but it's hard to say. You're living on a boat. You arrange things differently.
3 people living in 30 square meters. Mette comes from a boat-building family and is used to living in small spaces.
It's paying attention to what's important. You don't have to worry about everything and everyone. You can't move the furniture. That's relaxing.
The Elita, which they bought from a Danish count several years ago, made a family dream come true. When they have something to do in town, they just take their home with them.
Copenhagen is a small city. You know each other and everything's close by. That's what's nice about Copenhagen. I can enjoy the water and nature and have the flair of a capital city at the same time.
In the 1950s, Copenhagen's town planners were already focused on quality of life and tried to remove cars from the city centre. Today, Copenhagen is primarily a bicycle city. Almost half of the city's 600,000 residents get to work by bike, a trend that took off during the oil crisis in the 1970s. Now, there are more bicycles on the road than cars. Mette also cycles the remaining distance from the harbour to her office every day. Her bike is eye-catching, as the frame is made from wood. She's a designer and co-developed it. Her creative workshop for bicycle design is in Nordhavn, a harbour area where containers were once stacked.
Det her er adversionen, vil det være, at cyklen ser meget bedre ud med... Her er adversionen med admotoren. Swiss drive system.
Together with Paul Harder Cohen, Mette founded the company Co & Co. The two met at a bicycle trade fair. Now they want to make a breakthrough with wooden bicycles.
Hvis man kigger sådan på cykelkulturen i København.
If you look at the bike culture in Copenhagen, you can see the change.
Meget konkret transportmiddel til at blive
from a simple mode of transport to
et statement,
an identity statement. The bike you choose says something about you.
Udstråler noget om hvem du er som person.
Paul also comes from boat building. He came up with the idea of gluing Danish ash and walnut wood with carbon fibres. it makes for a very sturdy frame that evens out the bumps in the road. We're using techniques and material from boat building for the bicycles. For every step of the process, it's essential to think about what the product will be like at the end and how to optimize it so it can be produced in bulk. It takes Paul 1 week to build a wooden bike. At 8 kilos, it's a featherweight. The cheapest model can be bought for €2,600. Just like you can hear the difference between an acoustic and an electric guitar, so the body notices the difference between a normal and a wooden bicycle. The wood gives a comfortable driving experience. You don't need much strength to move forwards. It's just a great experience. Really fantastic.
Det er helt fantastisk.
"400 kilometers of cycle paths join the different parts of Copenhagen. So-called speed cycle lanes lead straight into the city port, making the bike the fastest way to get around. Exercise makes you fit. The side effect? The Danish health system saves up to €70 million a year. The city has even developed special bicycle bins, so cyclists don't have to get off their bike. And of course, the bikes you find here, you find nowhere else in the world. One of them belongs to Ebbe Korsgaard. Custom made with extra large cargo area. Together, they rattle off half a dozen restaurants every week.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Have you got some coffee for me?
Ej, så godt ud.
That looks great. Ebbe is collecting coffee grounds. 350 kilos of it are loaded onto his cargo bike every week. The ethnology graduate has set up a laboratory in an old shipping container with his friend Mikkel. An estate agent lets them use the property for free, so taken was he with the project. They used to work as consultants for sustainable business models. They had the idea for Beyond Coffee whilst they were drinking a cup of coffee.
Kaffegrums er jo noget, de har rigtig
Coffee
meget.
grounds are a waste product, of which we have a lot in this city. When you make coffee, only 0.2% of the bean is actually in the coffee. The rest lands in the waste, although there are enough nutrients still in it to continue using it.
Så du har enormt meget næring tilbage i kaffegrumsen, som man kan bruge til noget, og ikke bare smide ud.
A fungus is added to the coffee grounds, which decomposes its components and absorbs the nutrients. They've simulated a natural environment for the fungus in the coffee ground. The container is warm and dark. The atmosphere of a summer's day inside a tree trunk. Perfect growth conditions.
Den ser jo rigtig fin hvid ud.
Here you observe what's happening.
Virkelig gang i den.
It's a living organism that grows and spreads.
Hvordan det her det er en levende organisme.
You can feel the warmth it's emitting.
Og faktisk kan man også mærke det, at den bliver varm, når den vokser.
After 3 weeks, the fungus changes containers and seasons.
De ser gode ud, hva'?
Here, autumn is being simulated, with a high humidity and lots of light. Ideal conditions for a fungus. The oyster mushrooms grow out of the bags, thanks to the nutrients in the coffee grounds. Ebbe and Mikkel harvest 40 kilos of them a week. The oyster mushroom is very fragile and porous, but beautiful to look at. As we harvest it in the city and deliver it on the same day, it's very, very fresh. The slats are particularly delicate. A small living work of art has grown here. Ebbe returns the mushrooms to where he picked up the coffee grounds. We want to try and end the throwaway culture by carefully reusing the waste. The Beast was voted one of the best pizza restaurants in the world. Perhaps because of the original Copenhagen oyster mushrooms. The Little Mermaid has been sitting in the harbour for over 100 years and is the symbol of Copenhagen. As is the Danish monarchy, the oldest royal family in Europe. As modern as the city is, it treasures its traditions. The Tivoli from 1870 is one of the first and most popular amusement parks in the world. Copenhagen embodies small-town idyll and big city ambitions at the same time and attracts tourists from all over the world. Where the merchants' four-mast sailing ships once docked, there is now a cruise ship port. Up to 10,000 passengers disembark and embark on the ships every day. On the quays of 3 new departure halls, uncountable suitcases and supplies worth hundreds of thousands of euros are loaded. With over 300 passenger ships a year, Copenhagen is the largest cruise ship port in the Baltic. Copenhagen is known for being hyggelig, which means cozy. The many green areas and parks encourage socializing and togetherness. The city is pursuing an ambitious goal. By 2025, it wants to be carbon neutral, the first big city in the world to do so. Livia Holland wants to do her part. Together with 2 friends, she started an ecological project on an old industrial estate in Østerbro. It is the largest roof garden in Copenhagen, 600 square meters in the heart of the city.
Copenhagen is a very green city, and it's getting greener. There are new gardens everywhere. You notice how more and more people want to bring nature into the city.
It wasn't easy for the trained gardener to find the right roof. An old auction house for old-timers was strong enough. Today, there are over 100 tons of soil where cars used to be sold. The Østerbro project has been going for 3 years. Her colleague Christian is a landscape architect and took over the planning. Now he's tending to a bee colony that finds plenty of pollen and nectar, thanks to the many green areas in the city.
Vi har rigtig mange træer, vi har rigtig mange parker og blomster.
We have a lot of trees here, countless parks and flowers. The bees really like it in Copenhagen. In the country, they usually only get clay, acacia or rape honey. Here in Copenhagen, there's more diversity. There are ash and chestnut trees and everything you find on a balcony. City honey is totally different. It has a more intense flavor.
At det er en anderledes honning end den man normalt kan købe. Den her er sådan lidt mere kraftig.
Every Wednesday, over 100 different types of herbs and vegetables are harvested. For the most part, the roof garden finances itself. The allotments are split between 40 tenants that pay to have their vegetables delivered every month. Most of the harvesters are volunteers. In exchange, Livia teaches them about old and forgotten plant types.
Yeah, this is a very common weed, but you can eat it. Try it. This is goosefoot. Any good? The conversation about sustainability and living in the green becomes more tangible for people when they are in contact with it. And the communities that come from it strengthen the idea.
De fællesskaber, som skabes omkring det, styrker det blot endnu mere.
Between May and September, 60 kilos of vegetables are harvested every week. Recently, a small restaurant opened on the roof that uses the products directly. And the tenants get their fresh box once a week from the Green Roof Garden in Østerbro.
People want to know where what they are eating comes from. It's important for me too, because food production affects climate change. If we want to change something, it's a good place to start.
One third of the 6 million Danes live in the greater Copenhagen area. In translation, the name of the city means merchant's harbour. The connection to the North Sea and the Baltic made it one of the most important trading cities in Northern Europe for centuries. At the end of the 19th century, industrialization caused people to move from the countryside into the city. The number of inhabitants tripled in a short time period. Farmers and fishermen became factory workers. The places where the women would sell freshly caught fish diminished. After the Second World War, supermarkets drove them out entirely. Over 50 years ago, the final spot disappeared from the capital city. On exactly that spot, the new market, Nordhavn, opened on Israel Square. The 60 stalls are offering more and more regional products. Adam Ormen is a top chef in Copenhagen and goes on a voyage of discovery every Wednesday. I'll take some spinach and a few carrots. Is this Danish?
Definitely. The spinach and cucumber are from here, as are the carrots.
Can you pack it up?
Kan du pakke det op? Altså, jeg bliver enormt inspireret af at gå rundt.
On these markets, I gather ideas and see what's in season.
Lige nu.
Our different seasons give us a wide variety of vegetables.
Og det gør jo, at vi har et stort udvalg af grøntsager, som ændrer sig efter årstiden. Hej. Hej så.
The most recent development is seafood products being offered at the market. Fjord shrimp. They're in season. From Copenhagen. Great. Will you try one?
Ja, lidt liv i dem. Ja. Smager også sådan dejlig creme, ikke? Og sådan lidt sødlig smag.
Oh, they're really great.
Det er lige det, vi skal have.
Most of all, Adam is looking forward to the herring that fish seller Harry Lund has put aside for him. It is the last of the season. For many centuries, herring was the staple meal for the Copenhageners, but has been increasingly forgotten.
God fornøjelse. Vi ses.
The most basic dish Denmark has to offer, Adam has made into a supreme discipline. The buttered sandwich, the smørrebrød.
Da jeg tog fat i smørrebrødet, der havde det...
There are very bad smørrebrøds now.
Mange år...
That's because no chefs have taken it seriously over the past years. It's been industrialized and left behind with bad toppings and bad rye bread.
Dårligt rugbrød.
It's my mission to go back to where the smørrebrød began, with proper rye bread and homemade products.
Smørrebrødet startede med ordentligt rugbrød, med hjemmelavede produkter. Det her det er altså sild, der har
The herring was pickled to get this great flavor.
udvikle den her smag.
Following the recipe, Adam is marinating the herring in vinegar and sugar. Smørrebrød was initially a working-class meal that you could take onto the field. It was easy and nutritious.
De fleste har en forventning om, hvad
Most people have their own idea of smørrebrød. I like shaking things up and delighting guests with something so simple, in quotation marks, as smørrebrød. That's my motivation.
Dansk smørrebrød kan have den her store oplevelse i sig. Og det er ligesom det, jeg går efter.
Fish, potatoes, onion, Danish mayonnaise and plenty of herbs. High quality and newly combined. The recipe for Adam's success. He's now running 2 restaurants where only smørrebrød is served, of the highest quality and in countless variations. The Copenhageners are quite open-minded people. I think it's the same with the smørrebrød. You can grow to love our buttered bread very easily. Copenhagen is the cultural centre of Denmark, young and hip. Like Nordhavn, the once working-class area has become a multicultural hub. This is where Annalisa Lenender finds her inspiration.
Copenhagen can be wild and naughty, like an annoying little sister. But at other times, the city can be very open and warm-hearted. I like both faces, the rough and hardness on one side, but also the warmth and softness on the other, depending on what you need.
Som bare giver en god krammer, når man har brug for det en gang imellem.
Fra hovedet til blokken, fra blokken til boksen til scenen. Skole på sokken, flokken bag mig, vi ruller til toppen. Giv mig mikrofonen, så jeg kan børste stød af skuldrene for den.
Annalise is one of the few women in the Copenhagen rap scene. Her songs are always about the city. Her self-produced videos have made her a star in Denmark.
I express myself with rap. Plus, I'm a female rapper. I think if you have dreams, you just have to make them come true and say...
Og så sige, fuck it, I did it, og i hvert fald gøre sit bedste for at rappe top. Må man ikke bande, undskyld. Did I curse? Yes, I did.
Anneliese grew up in the countryside. She was 17 when she moved to Copenhagen and dreamt of becoming a rapper.
Hej.
Ja.
Godt at se dig.
Milad is a music producer. Her talent immediately convinced him. The son of Iranian immigrants co-owns a small record label in Nordhavn.
Okay. Jeg har tænkt over det.
Anneliese is producing her first studio album with him, a homage to the city that gave her a chance.
Jeg har lyst til at skrive om de her mennesker.
I want to write about the people living in Copenhagen and their problems, how everyone in the city finds their place. That's my way of reflecting. Copenhagen's openness gives me a lot of input as an artist.
København er med til at inspirere mig rigtig meget, fordi at byen er så åben og har så meget simpelthen at tilbyde i forhold til mig som artist.
Her music is influenced by many different cultures. The texts are about self-determination and the role of the individual in society. She's also involved with rap workshops for young people in her neighborhood.
You can use a lot more words than you could in a pop song, for example. Rap challenges me in a different way as a writer. I really have to use my brain, but that's what I like.
Jeg udvikler mig, jeg skal bruge min hjerne rigtig meget. Det kan jeg rigtig godt lide i musikken. Helt sikkert, lad os gøre det, og så...
Today, she's singing her first single release, and a few hours later, she'll be performing it in front of an audience for the first time.
Har fundet jordforbindelsen, pastinakker, manker kold foran porten til den skal vi jagte se sammen, kan vi lukke den op ligesom Alibaba. Hvem opretter, hvem udretter, hvem indretter lige meget, alle de snakker, hvem er nu, hvad vil du, hvad fungerer du for meget i blandt de danske rapper. Jeg kan være med bag, hjertet starter hiven imod, og til du hiver efter vejret, respirator.
Anneliese recently signed her first contract with an international record label. A stage in an alternative housing community was the perfect springboard for her. Christiania is a commune in the middle of the city where artists, hippies and dropouts come together. A 34-hectare oasis with 1,000 residents. There are no laws, just rules that are decided upon by the community. Many homes are self-built. One of the more unusual houses is the banana house. Traveling carpenters still in training spend the night here. Over the 20 years, every guest has added something unique to the house. Klaus Danzer built the ground floor. The German carpenter came to Christiania during his training and travels and decided to stay. It's different everywhere in the city. Those who have the money sit in the front row, so to speak. Here, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's about who you are. He's been living in Christiania for 24 years. He earns his living working as a carpenter in Copenhagen. He continues to be convinced by the values of the commune. There were a lot of housing battles in Europe in the 1980s where empty rooms were occupied, which were then cleared out again. Christiania, also due to its size, managed to stay alive over the years. When activists tore down empty military housing on the city island of Nyhavn in 1971, nobody predicted that the protest would spark a whole movement. An anti-bourgeois society was the goal, a self-governing life without private ownership. The commune built its own infrastructure with a postal system, street cleaning, and kindergartens. The residents are no longer threatened with eviction. After years of negotiations, they reached an agreement with the Danish government in 2011 and bought the occupied land from a collective fund. Nowadays, the former commune dwellers have to deal with the tourists that come to Christiania to seek out a piece of hippie fairyland.
Christiania hat ja so eine Leuchtturmfunktion. Viele sehen ihre eigenen.
Christiania has this beacon effect. For many, Christiania is a dream come true, even though they don't really know what Christiania is. But the idea means a lot.
Aber die Idee, die bedeutet sehr viel.
The residents are also responsible for the upkeep of the roads and green spaces. Klaus is passionate about trees. As a proper tree climber has been missing in green Christiania, Klaus taught himself the trade. Whether I'll take money for it, I haven't decided that yet. We have a so-called gardeners group here that have a full-time job tending to all the green spaces in Christiania, but they can't climb.
Die können aber nicht klettern.
In tree climbing contests, Klaus has won the national title. The Parks Department does not decide which branches are removed. Here, that's something that will be decided democratically. Everyone has something to say.
Soar a little more, if you're asking us, so we get more light.
Okay, but can you see the wound on the branch from down there?
It's bad with a shade. Take off as much as you can.
I'll do what I can. We talk a lot about what's good. We talk until we're in agreement. Everyone who's passing by lends a hand. I always have very happy customers. It's a task most of the people can't do themselves. And the people are happy when the tree has come down safely. Since the 1990s, dozens of architectural icons have sprung up in the harbour area, which have completely changed the city's skyline, like the opera, the new theatre, and the library. Designed in Denmark became a brand in the 20th century. The classics are chairs, armchairs, and lamps. Functionality and a reduction to the essentials is the key to success. To find new raw materials as source material for design objects, you have to try out unusual ideas. Jonas Ilbad's favorite material is seaweed. He gathers 30 kilos of it a week.
Når man tilbringer meget tid ved vandet.
In Copenhagen, you spend a lot of time by the water. This automatically brings you in contact with materials that you can only find there. We were looking for a local building material. There's more than enough kelp here on the coast. It's a wonderful resource that you can get for free. Jonas studied design and likes experimenting with new materials. He's founded a company together with Nikolaj Steenfett. Drying the kelp always leads to new discoveries. I find it unbelievably interesting. It depends entirely on when we harvest it and what type of seaweed it is. The shapes and the colors are completely different every time. And that's what makes every one of our designs so unique. Seaweed has been used in the food industry and as a fertilizer for a long time. The two designers have found that if you mix kelp powder with water, you get a 100% organic glue. The advantage of this material is that as designers, we can explain how it was made. A transparent production process is very important to us. The thin liquid was hard to work with at first, but mixed with toilet paper, the algae becomes usable raw material. It used to be just paper and kelp, but now we can mold the material. We've made it usable. The consistency of the mixture is now perfect. You could make lampshades, for example. That's not quite closed yet. Our design is part of the Danish tradition, but we're also trying to go in a different direction by working with the materials in a new way. It's a look to the future. It's important for us to show all the possibilities we still have in product design.
Det er vigtigt at vise, at fremtidens materialer og produkter kan laves sådan her.
Their algae lamps have even made it into Denmark's Design Museum. They are hanging alongside the classics of the national history of design. Copenhagen impresses with its tolerance and laid-back attitude, and gives everyone the freedom to reinvent themselves. Dakar, the capital of Senegal and a magnet for all of West Africa. 2.5 million inhabitants live in the greater metropolitan area. Big waves, warm water, all year round. Surfers consider the Atlantic coast off Dakar an insider's tip. Early in the morning, Hadiata Samb starts her working day on one of the city's beaches. Those who know her just call her Hadchu. She started surfing when she was 18.
It's hard. surfing as a woman. It creates problems in the family. A Senegalese woman that surfs is unusual, unprecedented, and a black woman surfing is doubly unusual.
So far, Hadju is the only female surfing instructor in Senegal. One of the oldest neighborhoods in Dakar is Ngur. This is Hadju's home. People make a living from fishing and a few from tourism. To earn a living from surfing is something the local children can only dream of. Hadju teaches them in her spare time. The sea is a dangerous place. There are rocks and strong currents. Hadju is explaining how to recognize a good wave and the best way to get on it.
At some point, I realized there are no black children that surf. We are all neighbors from the same district. If I teach the kids about surfing, they might have a better chance of getting a job, and perhaps they can compete professionally.
Hadju would like to train more boys in her neighborhood, but she doesn't have enough equipment.
The boards, the suits, it all comes from Europe. It's difficult to get the gear, very difficult. Luckily, some people give me their used stuff when they get new gear.
A friend takes them to the edge of the bay, where the waves are breaking.
I love surfing. There's nothing else for me. I have tried other sports, like kayaking and volleyball, but my heart is in surfing.
The boys from Ngur learn to swim by themselves, but surfing in the sea on their doorstep, that's new. Hadju hopes to inspire a few girls from her neighborhood to take up surfing. The graffiti artist Matsu has places to go. Early in the morning, before it gets too hot, he wants to get to a turnoff by the city highway. He's taking a car rapide. The ride costs about 12 cents, a price the street artists in Dakar can afford. It's good that sometimes people hire us to do a wall, but usually we go out and find a suitable, clean place. Now I'm in the Cambaren quarter. Let's see how it goes. Everyday scenes, tags, and repeated political messages give the washed concrete some color. A few years ago, Madsu founded a spray collective. Today, there are 12 of them. In the cities of Europe and America, spray artists often work in disguise. Not in Dakar. I'd say we can be relaxed in Dakar. We can spray in broad daylight without getting into trouble. Our problem is more trying to find people that will support our art. We're self-financed, each for themselves and the collective. That unites us and creates a dynamic. Dakar's my city. I was born here, grew up here, and have always lived here. In Dakar, I'm an established artist, so this city is my universe. I love Dakar, the mix of ethnicities, everyone lives together. Muslims alongside Christians. Nothing is smooth here, there's no stereotypes. The sprayers work around Madsu for 8 hours in the heat, noise and dust, giving Dakar a little more colour, at least around the city highway. It's especially for Friday prayers that Senegal shows itself as an Islamic country. On these days, the central mosque is too small to harbour all the believers. The people practice a soft, relaxed and Sufism-influenced Islam. Dakar was founded in the mid-19th century. In 1902, the city became the administrative centre for French West Africa. Since independence in 1960, the traces of colonialism gradually faded in Senegal. Today, Senegal is a confident African metropolis. Dakar is considered the centre for fashion in West Africa. Colis Sur Ardo sells her pieces in her own boutique in the centre of town. She works in a small studio very close by.
Working for a collection started with sketches like this. I choose a few and draw those properly. Then I do the cutting pattern, and in the end, there's a sample dress. These materials are hand-woven from silk and cotton. These pieces take a long time to make. I am attached to them. They are 100% Senegal. I am proud of that, working with these materials. Well, I can't make large amounts of them. For that, I need simpler material, so my fashion house can survive.
Many who have made a name for themselves in African fashion come from Dakar. Colis Sur Ardo has shown her work in Paris.
Here, I am working on a top that still needs to be embroidered. My new collection won't just be made from these materials and cuts. Altogether, there will be 100 pieces. The men and women in Dakar are elegant. If you see someone walking, you immediately think, if I made a design for this person, what would it look like? It is easy to dress the Senegalese men and women.
Senegal exports 40,000 tons of raw cotton every year. It's no longer processed here. The materials for sale in the markets in Dakar mainly come from China. Even the cloth for the moussour, the traditional headwear for Senegalese women. Cheap and cheerful has almost destroyed the Senegalese textile industry. The next morning, Collet's new collection has its first trial run in a luxury hotel. Many months of work lie between the first sketch and the final piece. This is an important moment for Collet.
This is the first time I am showing them. I am preparing for a fashion show in December, and these are the first models that are ready. This is a top that you can wear with everything. If you want it with trousers, then without the wraparound skirt. With a skirt, it is very African. Yes. I am trying to fuse cultures. The hat replaces our headwear, the moussour. You don't have to train the models here. You look for a woman with a high waist and tell her to go. It has immediate appeal. A real Senegalese woman is very black, very beautiful, and very natural.
In her new collection, Collet is playing with gender roles.
I am very happy. This is what I wanted. These are actually designed for men, and I have made them fashionable for women. This is how we share our culture. And that's good.
There are barely any regular bus routes in Dakar. The most important public transport is the car rapide. The buses always go, almost anywhere, and for little money. In his small workshop, Amadou Sow works hard to keep the buses so colourful. Everyone calls him Bill. He studied art in Dakar and discovered his market niche of decorating the small buses when he was a young man. The designs are simple, plants, animals and symbols that everyone can understand. One element can never be missing. The eyes are the most important. Of course, they have to be at the front. They give the car rapide its face. They're above the headlights and can be seen from far away. That's why the eyes are so important and are always painted here. Most buses in Senegal have already had a previous life in France, with several 100,000 kilometers behind them. Some have been in service for over 40 years. Some have more than 4 million kilometers under their belt. Now, their days could be numbered. The government wants to start banning the old car rapides, but they're a symbol for Senegal. Also, if they remove the car rapides, many will lose their jobs. The buses support mechanics, electricians. It's not just the drivers and their helpers that collect the money. And most importantly, it's a cheap mode of transport. The car rapides are so popular in Senegal because they've been around for a long time. If you want to get rid of them, you have to replace them with something better. A car rapide lasts forever. The motor is always running 24 hours a day, every day of the week. It never makes problems. Something better than a car rapide hasn't been invented. Hundreds of pirogues lie on the beach of Yoff. The neighborhood is completely geared towards fishing. Alioune Sen comes from an old family in Yoff. she belongs to the Lebu people, like everyone on this beach. The women sell what their men catch. With the Lebu, the women run all things related to money. The customer wants to pay 25,000 CFA francs, almost $50 for the box. It's too little for Alioune, but she ends up accepting the customer's offer.
The sea is what makes us special. Not everyone has that. The countries without the sea are not doing so well. Everything we have, our houses, come from the sea. The fishermen are always Lebu. Our ancestors went out to sea and were farmers. But the land is gone. So today, the Lebu people are only fishermen. Fishing is in our blood. It's what we know.
The Yoff fish market is the biggest in Dakar. Alioune's family lives close to the beach. The large family lives in the one house. 4 generations, almost 80 people share the 3 stories and courtyard. Lebu women take care of everything to do with the family and are considered to be very confident.
If your husband lets you work, it means he trusts you. That is very important in our tradition as Lebu women. We stand up for ourselves, rely on ourselves, and we are very proud. If you have no respect for yourself, others will not have any respect for you.
Late in the evening, the women of the neighborhood have gathered together as one of them has invited them to the sabar. There is no tradition as typical and quintessentially Senegalese as the sabar. The word describes the drum, and the women make the sabar an event. They dance acrobatic dances that rarely last longer than a minute. The dance technique is highly complex, the performance important to win recognition in the community. The Corniche is one of the main traffic axes and connects the neighborhoods in northwest Dakar. It is lined by long sandy beaches, which fill up in the afternoons as soon as it gets cooler. At this time of day, Abdul Aziz Sako also comes to the Corniche. His fighting name is Dojiga. I have a competition soon, so I'm training here. No matter how much I've already done, I have to do more now. I train every day in the morning and the evening. The beach is the best place to prepare. Dojiga lives in the Parcelle Assaini neighborhood. He and some friends have set up a small gym. The young men build the equipment themselves. Dojiga started ringing when he was 12. Building has been training him for 2 years. Until recently, building was still in the ring himself. Now he's training new talent. I'm young and I live in a neighborhood in Dakar where there are many ringers. All my friends ring. That's how I started, and I get a lot of support. That's why I believe I'll become champion. It won't be easy. You never know what will happen in a competition. Hard training gives you strength, and strength gives you courage. To train for a big competition, the ringers drive to the city's edge. The dunes are the best place to work on your fighting technique, as the competition fight will take place on sandy ground. Dojiga is almost 2 meters tall, which means he has a long reach, an advantage. His 87 kilos put him in the heavyweight category. Yes, he's in good shape, but he also needs rest phases to stay on form. Now he's almost training too much and showing fatigue. I'm going to sleep now. Then there's the competition. Anything could happen, but I hope to win. Ringing is our culture. It's very old. What football is to Brazil, ringing is to Senegal. That's the way it is. The next evening, things get serious for Dojiga. Not far from the arena, helpers are covering him in oil. The opponents are not allowed to see the fight preparations. Amulets are supposed to make Dojiga invincible. He has to win here. If he's not in a position to win these fights, he can't improve. To go further, he has to win here. Every opponent demands a new tactic. Some are heavier than him. He has to be prepared for that. Others have his build, and others are small and agile. Opponents are different, and Dojiga has to adapt to their fighting style. Like all audience events in Dakar, the fight starts late in the evening. Professional ringing is broadcast live on Senegalese TV. Prize money can be up to $240,000. Dojiga is warmed up. For the next fight, he'll be in the ring. There are no rounds. The first to hit the ground loses. Some fights only last seconds. The trainer is satisfied. Dojiga has got through to the next round. The fighting continues until late into the night. It's 20 minutes by boat from Dakar to the island of Gorée. Richard Mbengue was on the mainland to do some shopping. He lives on Gorée. From the 15th century, the island was a trading hub and also a base for sending slaves to the plantations in the New World. First the Portuguese and the Dutch, then the French ruled the island, which only lost its importance through the expansion of the port of Dakar. Richard is one of the 1,000 inhabitants on the island. Today, Gorée is a World Heritage Site, and that pulls in the tourists. But early in the morning, the locals are just among themselves. Richard takes care of the gardens on the island. As well as a small park that dates back to the French nature researcher Michel Adanson. In the mid-18th century, Adanson described the nature and the peoples of Senegal. He laid the foundations for the first botanical garden in West Africa in Gorée. There is a tree we call gouy. The French say baobab, and the Latin name is Adansonia digitata. It's named after Michel Adanson, and I feel like the next Michel Adanson. I'm continuing his mission on Gorée. At the beginning, it was hard, as Adanson's work had been forgotten and the garden desolate. Richard sees the baobab as a symbol for his efforts in the garden. The monkey bread tree preserves itself by only bearing leaves shortly before the wet season. You can use every part of the baobab. The fruit helps against diarrhea. We cook the leaves with barley to soften it. That's how you do it in the countryside and in the city. The leaves also help against fatigue. We weave ropes from the bark that we use to tie up our cattle. Because Adanson planted the trees here, I want them to be here forever. I raise saplings and sometimes people come and want one for their garden. In Senegal, we believe that the baobab protects from all evil. Richard will never become rich as an island gardener. If he didn't tend to some private gardens, he wouldn't be able to support his family. It's not easy, but I'll do anything to ensure Gorée is completely green, so that everyone can take pleasure in it. That's my mission, and I must carry it through. After the last ferry has set off for Dakar, peace returns to Gorée. Richard has succeeded in inspiring 2 boys from the island to take up gardening. When he can no longer care for the Adanson Park, they will continue his work. Night has fallen in the square by the abandoned railway station in Dakar. Mamita and Abba have come to hear their idol, one of Senegal's most famous rappers. His texts are political, his music is rough. Matador says what many young Senegalese are thinking. He raps about the relationship with France and Europe, unemployment, drugs, and violence in the slums. Matador himself comes from the suburbs of Dakar, from Charo. His performances often take him abroad, but he always comes back. Matador is highly respected in his neighborhood. Together with friends, he has founded an organization to get young people off the streets. Charo is a really poor area. There's a lot of young people and there's no infrastructure for them. They're offered nothing apart from drugs and violence. We rap to make it clear to the state that its politics are bad and do nothing for its young people. And to show the young people that their future is here, in Senegal, and not in Europe or the USA. We have to take care of ourselves and build a country ourselves. It's our place, and that makes it our fight.
I am lucky to be able to work with Matador. He helps me with text and arrangements. I want to go further and become a great artist, be known in Senegal and internationally.
Abba has made some final changes to the text. Every year, he arranges for 2 young rappers to participate in a new talent festival in Europe. This year, he's chosen Abba and Mamita. Matador works with the young musicians in a small studio. Mamita is 18 years old. Although she's been rapping for a while, this is the first time she's being recorded. And the first time she's hearing herself. It's a lot of work. We record them and then they hear themselves. And even if I don't correct them, they say themselves, that's no good. They know what's not quite right and self-criticize, and that's good. Then we work over it together, go over the text again, and at some stage it fits. It's important for Matador that the kids in the neighborhood realize they have opportunities and should take them. Like Mamita, who will soon be traveling to Stockholm.
I was chosen out of many boys and girls. I know what is ahead and will work hard for success. I was chosen, and that is a big chance for me. It's no coincidence.
Now we'll start with the arrangements. It's the first piece they're doing, and it has potential. We'll have to polish it, but the next time it will be right.
Sometimes they cry.
Siaka Traoré does a lot of walking. Siaka is a photographer and is working on a project about the Dakar dance scene. It will be a series about street dancers. Okay, Chris, more to the middle. No, yes, that's good. And again? It was a conscious decision to work with flashlight for this project. His subjects look as though they're frozen in the moment of his photos. I love all things graphic, the visual, sketches, paintings. So for me it's very natural that I ended up doing photography. Photography is hard. There's not many photographers here. You have to make the effort. It's not impossible to be successful and live from it, but you have to work hard for it. The street dance and hip-hop scene may be small in Dakar, but it is almost no different from the youth culture in cities like Paris or LA. Most of the young people I know here don't have much and still make something of it. That's what motivates me to continue with the photography.
The challenges of daily life force me to try something new and develop new concepts. If that's how you define modernity, then I think yes, this is a modern city. Different nationalities, cultures and mentalities come together here. For me, Dakar is alive. You just have to explore the areas where life is playing out. Yes, in that respect, Dakar is a modern city.
Siaka works on his pictures at home. His studio is the street.
La photographie que je fais, je me limite pas à la danse ou au truc.
I don't limit my photography to dance.
La vie active.
What interests me is life, the everyday goings-on in Dakar. Street artists, or seeing someone ride by on their horse, or the many derelict cars on the side of the road, or the people pulling their carts alongside the motorway and don't give a damn about the traffic. Dakar has many faces, and that's a great inspiration.
Tous ces côtés de la ville de Dakar, ça inspire beaucoup. Ça inspire beaucoup.
Every 2 years, the art community meets in the Senegalese capital for Dak Art, the Biennale for Contemporary African Art. In the off area, Siaka is exhibiting his dance photographs. The unfinished building is the gallery. Many people who look at my photos ask me where they were taken, whether it was in the USA. They don't recognize Dakar. That people think it's America shows that Dakar is with the times. Dakar doesn't need to envy any other city. Shadrach Cedric Abdoulaye is going around the Liberté 6 quarter. His flyers are promoting a small event in the neighborhood. The bicycle is coming too. A few tools, wires and plugs. With simple tools, Cedric and his friends especially want to help poorer people in the country. And the bicycle plays a central role. The project grew out of the goal to improve the electricity access in the rural areas. A team introduces the project in the countryside in Senegal, and another team does this in Dakar.
Mais également, il y a une autre équipe qui est basée à Dakar qui fait également le même projet.
The recruiting is done with a bicycle and its 2 wheels. Some of the rural areas don't have electricity yet. There's no TVs, and we're bringing modern progress from the city into the country and sending our bicycle cinemas. But also here in Dakar, we want to show people how they can generate their own power. And as there's hardly any cinemas, we host our own small open-air events. Ibrahima Gion is the project technician and has a solution for everything. We built the motor almost entirely out of parts we found in the road. We only bought individual parts. It's very easy to build. And with a little box like this, you can get 5 to 6 bulbs glowing.
Plus de 5 ou 6 ampoules pendant la nuit.
The team is setting up its equipment in a square in the neighborhood. The bicycle is generating the power for the projector. We just have to get the projector going, and in 5 minutes we'll show the first film.
On va lancer la première vidéo.
An old Senegalese feature film is being shown. To make sure it plays, everyone must do their part. Senegal had a decades-old cinema tradition, but TV has made the movie theatre obsolete. This makes these screenings, no matter how small the screen, very popular for film enthusiasts and, of course, children, who think the setup is at least as exciting as the film itself. Even if it does not have the luminescent glow of other metropolises, Dakar is a city that never sleeps. Especially in the suburbs, the shops and restaurants close late. Over an open flame, sheep's meat is grilled well into the night. People are on the move at all times of the night, talking over a glass of tea, and later, around 1 or 2, we dress up and go out. Then life plays out in the clubs, where people dance to mbalach. Mbalach combines Senegalese rhythm with music styles like blues or funk. Pape Diouf is one of the most popular mbalach singers in Dakar. The concert starts just before 3 in the morning. When it's over, the sun will rise once again over Dakar, the most cosmopolitan city in West Africa. Without its connection to the sea, the second largest city in Israel would never have come into existence. Tel Aviv was once the literal safe harbour for Jews from the diaspora. Today, the flood of voluntary immigrants is far from slowing down. In Israel, people say, Jerusalem prays, Haifa works, and Tel Aviv dances. Lifestyle, creativity, and individualism are the city's calling cards. In Tel Aviv, some are living in a bubble, whilst others are sitting on a powder keg. Great efforts are put into protecting the city. Around the clock, patrol boats guard the coast from intruders. Almost everyone must join the military in Israel, whether they're religious or atheist, Jewish, Palestinian, or immigrants. Sergeant Tal is not worried about Tel Aviv's future. The city is always growing, independently of the countries around it. Lebanon and Syria in the north, Jordan, Egypt, and the Gaza Strip in the south. And it will always stay this alive, no matter what the problems around it are. Early in the morning, at one of Tel Aviv's many beaches, Sharon Knafo and his friend Smir are performing their ritual ablutions. Sharon's body is covered in scars. In 2002 in Jerusalem, he was standing next to a suicide bomber when the device was detonated. Over 100 nails pierced his skin. He only just survived. This attack showed me something about life that I'd never thought about before. It's not important to achieve something in your life. Life itself is important. Being, that was the most important thing for me in that moment. Just to leave the hospital and live. Sharon became a disciple of Rabbi Nyhavn's, an Orthodox Jew from the 19th century. Nyhavn taught his followers to escape the everyday with prayer and to find happiness in escape from the world. Sharon holds no ill will towards the suicide bomber. All that suffering and terror, ultimately the attackers only make us value our lives and our country even more. Instead of running away, we return with our roots even stronger, with Israel. Sharon and his friends can be hired for Jewish family celebrations or national holidays. Their old van is known throughout the city. That's our home. We need this car just like you need a house. I can't go without it. It keeps me alive. When I drive it, I feel like I'm giving other people life. Sometimes I can get on people's nerves with the car if I want to. For Sharon and his friends, Tel Aviv is one big stage. Wherever there is a traffic jam or the lights are red, there'll be an impromptu performance. If it only makes one person happy who was sad before, it was worth it. It's like an ambulance. It's noisy and bothers people, but it also saves people's lives. Thank God many people like it. Sharon's role model, Rabbi Nyhavn, preached about the simplicity of faith. Those who find no reason to be happy, he said, should at least be happy to be a Jew. One should always strive for happiness. Those who are sad diverge from the right path. You worry about providing for yourself or what other people think about you. Instead, I worry about the joy, escaping to happiness. That's when I'm alive. Without happiness, there is no life. Tel Aviv is a city that accepts all types of crazy. Humor is a part of the life philosophy. Spring Hill, the translation of Tel Aviv, was built on sand. Using shells from the beach, the families marked the plots where they would build their first houses in 1909. The city grew quickly. Nazi persecution, the Stalinist threat, and hostilities in Arabic countries made Tel Aviv a refuge for Jews of countless nationalities. As closely as they live together, the different national groups usually stay amongst themselves. The average age in Israel is 19 years old. Competition and the pressure to perform are high. Those who want to keep up have a personal trainer. Maria Pomeranz charges an hourly rate for making her clients suffer. She trains middle-aged men and women, but also young people getting into shape before they join the army. Maria was not born on Israeli soil. She comes from St. Petersburg and came to Israel like many other Russian Jews after the collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 90s. For her, the most important part of training is believing in yourself.
This lifestyle, physical fitness, healthy eating has to be a free choice. A person can't say they love themselves if they are harming themselves. If someone loves themselves, they also love others.
Maria jokes that during her training, she is Putin and Stalin for her clients. Tel Aviv seems obsessed with body image. Perhaps this has something to do with Israel's location, surrounded by enemies. It's not only young people who keep fit. Life expectancy in Israel is over 80.
I think so many people are sporty and active in Tel Aviv because of this wonderful promenade. You can start your day with some fitness training on the beach or by going into the water. I do it a lot. It's great.
Maria did not have an easy childhood in St. Petersburg. She grew up without a mother, and her father was a violent alcoholic. She was 17 when she arrived in Israel with her 2 suitcases.
I imagined Israel as an exotic place, with palm trees, ocean, sun, and people in revealing clothing. An endless holiday.
The reality was a little different. For the first 10 years, Maria slept on the streets, in bus shelters, and begged.
That was tough. A very painful life of loneliness and poverty. Sometimes I didn't eat for a whole week.
Emaciated down to 45 kilos, Maria was 27 the first time she stepped foot inside a fitness studio. It was an epiphany. From one day to the next, she radically changed her lifestyle. Daily power training, healthy eating, and also self-discipline gave her a new self-confidence. Meanwhile, the dreams she had as a young woman when she came to this country have come true.
I have a business, I am independent, and I am my own master. I earn a lot of money. I give other people love and support, encouragement and strength. That's fulfilling. And I have a wonderful life partner. He is the European Jiu-Jitsu champion. I have a champion because I am one myself.
Maria is ambitious. In a week, she's taking part in a bodybuilding competition. She wants to become a champion of champions. She's training relentlessly. Tel Aviv is a paradise for Oriental cuisine. The Carmel Market is considered one of the best in the city because of its large selection and fresh produce. Restaurant owner Nanushka Shriya and her barkeeper Easy shop here every day.
What's that?
It's for kebab.
It's good. I am looking for inspiration, of course. Often I have no plan of what to buy and let myself be seduced.
The foodie scene in Tel Aviv is competitive and demands new ideas. Gourmet chefs are treated like superstars, and restaurants open and close in quick succession.
Wow! That's a lot. Too much.
Too much money?
We didn't pay attention. I have money, but 700 shekels? It's like buying drugs. We didn't pay attention.
180 euros for a few herbs. At the Carmel Market, money buys the best ingredients in the world. It wasn't always this way. After Israel was founded, many Jews who survived the Holocaust boycotted goods from Europe. The newest trend is vegan. Nanushka's Georgian restaurant has long been one of the most sought after in the city, particularly the fish specialities. But then she decided to ban all animal products from her restaurant.
I became vegan when I realized how horribly the animals are treated. For a long time, you didn't really know. There was no transparency. Today, one knows that one is partly responsible for this suffering. It's no good for anyone serving meat in a restaurant. It would be inhumane.
Taking meat off the menu has done her Georgian restaurant, also called Nanushka, no harm. Today, the Georgians are celebrating Shavuot, the festival of the earth and the harvest. There can be no animal products, so cheese cannot be added to any dishes.
On this day, we thank the earth for everything we have received from it. And yet, it has become tradition for most to serve cheese on this occasion. I have no idea who invented that. That's why we are preparing a lot of dishes that are like cheese, but even tastier than the real thing.
Georgian specialities like chinkali, stuffed with tofu or spinach, rather than the standard mincemeat and cheese. Part of Georgian celebrations, even abroad, is the procession around the neighborhood. In the Neve Tzedek district, almost everyone has a migratory background. Here, no one hides where they come from. Tolerance and joy of experimentation are highly regarded values on Spring Hill. For Nanushka, there is no alternative to the welcoming culture of this city.
Only in Israel can you be Egyptian, Georgian, Russian, and Armenian. Only in Israel. And I am doubly blessed. Here, I can be Georgian as well as Russian. We have a large mixture of exiles from all over the world. It's unbelievable. It is especially like this in Tel Aviv.
One says there are 3 seasons in Israel: summer, winter, and war. High alert in a suburb in Tel Aviv. A rocket has hit an apartment building. 12 dead and 6 injured. Under the wreckage, one expects to find more casualties. Rescuers are looking for people under the rubble. The threat in Israel is ever present, but this time it's just a drill. Young soldiers are being prepared for an emergency situation. All the information comes together in the war room, a multimedia-equipped crisis center 3 stories underground. It has its own air supply, and the vast food deposits can keep the assembled specialists alive for months in an emergency. For 12 years, Security Chief David Aharoni has been in command, handling terror attacks and natural disasters. An early warning system helps him, so as not to disrupt life in the entire city. The security forces have developed a system that can restrict the area of the rocket attack. All the residents receive the alarm over the TV, radio and computer, but only those living in the affected area are told the attack happened in their neighborhood. There's no need for the rest of the city to interrupt their day. Every June, Tel Aviv celebrates its Love Parade. When it was organized for the first time in 1997, the conservative Jews, Muslims and Christians were in agreement for once. They were against it. Today, the high-spirited parade attracts revelers from all over the world. The security forces are on high alert. Gatherings like this increase the risk of an attack. A suite on the 11th floor of a beach hotel has been converted into the command center for the police. This is where the information from all the security forces comes together. For David Aharoni, this parade is one of the many events that make up his city. Tel Aviv is a diverse city. Jews, Muslims and Christians live here. The rich and poor, an extremely colorful mix. We make sure everyone can live together peacefully, and that everyone is free to live their life as they want to. A terror alert has been received. Nothing is certain, but 2 terrorists armed with knives are reported to be amongst the celebrating crowds, a Palestinian and an American. David Aharoni joins the search. Despite the many eyes and countless cameras, it is an impossible task to identify the suspected terrorists. They could be anywhere. Two profilers specialized in facial recognition are scanning the crowds. Only last year at a similar event, a 17-year-old girl was stabbed by an Orthodox Jew. There are a lot of dangers at these events, from the inside and outside. There's also a danger from our own people who are opposed to these events. And in between, we have the residents of Tel Aviv. We have to make sure that at least they have the feeling that the city is calm. We will not stop celebrating, and we will not hold this city back. The search for the 2 suspects is fruitless. The designer Doraya Avital Kanchepolsky grew up on the beach. She has found her own way of dealing with the constant threat. She blocks it out, like many living in Tel Aviv.
I don't watch the news. I don't really read the papers, so I can enjoy my life without having to constantly think of the terrible things that are happening around us.
Doraya's studio, like many other artists, is in Jaffa, where there has always been tension between Jews and Arabs. The first settlements date back to 3500 BC. The stories of its alleyways are those of Phoenicians and the Apostle Peter, of sieges by the Crusaders and Napoleon. The conflict between Jews and Muslims has remained, even if Jaffa is relatively peaceful nowadays.
For me, the person is important. I don't care where they come from or what they believe in. I live together with them peacefully. I buy from their shops, I visit their restaurants, just like anywhere else.
There was a time when Israel was getting too restrictive for Doraya, and she followed the call of adventure and continued her studies in Australia. But she soon became homesick and realized that she could live nowhere other than Tel Aviv.
Just like most people here, they think there is always a better place than Israel, that there is always a more beautiful beach.
When she was younger, Doraya was a competitive swimmer. She lives on a sailboat in the harbour. As a lot of her life revolves around the sea, her inspiration often comes from the ocean.
When I was a child, I was scared of fish. I was scared to go into the sea. Nevertheless, they still fascinated me. I always wanted to observe and examine them. Fish are a part of my life. Perhaps because I feel like a fish myself.
Even if Tel Aviv sprung from Jaffa and the two have now grown together, they could not be more different. Jaffa is oriental and traditional. Tel Aviv, on the other hand, is young, urban and dynamic. Doraya likes to be in both worlds, but most of all by the beach.
My grandfather always said that all people are equal by the sea. There is no difference between rich and poor on the beach, old or young. The sea doesn't care who you are. Everyone is the same in the sea.
The city is in constant growth. To the 400,000 inhabitants, you can add at least 80,000 dogs. The trend is not slowing. In Tel Aviv, no price is too high for man's best friend. Shabbat is spent on the dog beach. Then there's a fully automated doggy wash from Leica. The classical music accompaniment and conditioning are optional. For dogs that have to stay at home while the owners are at work, Dog TV broadcasts an entertainment program just for canines. But one problem remains, and Adi Bana has the solution. Even dogs need to step outside. He spent his military service time with the Department for Sniffer Dogs, and afterwards he studied law. But Adi did not want to be a lawyer. He tried different jobs, even delivering newspapers. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and asked myself, what am I good at? Can I do something useful with my life that I also enjoy? Dogs. Adi followed his dream and founded Dogmen. Today, it's a service venture that's all about the dog. Dogmen has 18 employees and 500 dogs in its database, with owners who appreciate individual care. A walk in the park, a visit to the vet, or dog salon, or dog sitting in your flat. Dogmen offers a comprehensive service for around €20 an hour. Many clients are high up in the Israeli financial world. The service that we offer is expensive, but for our Israeli clients, money is no object. They just want us to give their dogs the best possible care, and we do that very well.
Okay, so we're talking about signs of aggression. Whenever you see a dog like this is a sign of, hey, listen, I'm not comfortable. If you mess with him, he will bite the shit out of you, okay? And it's a tiny dog, okay? Yeah, exposing teeth. So this is the next phase after this. This is like the last sign you will see before you get bitten, okay? So if you see this thing, it's going to be painful.
A workshop for the risks in the life of a dog walker. The client's body language should be understood.
Go back home if you don't know. Now this dog shows all signs of, hey, do not touch me. I'm not comfortable with you. Now look at him. He's just trying to avoid her. Okay, look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. If he were a human, he would say to this kid, get away. Get away. Okay?
Adi is the only one in his company who was born in Israel. Dogmen almost only employs new immigrants. Often they don't find work because they don't yet speak Hebrew.
We understand what he wants, okay?
A job like this helps them become familiar with the country and the city, and doing it on foot. Immigrants have a very good work ethic, and they don't have to speak Hebrew to the dog. The work suits them. It's a win-win situation.
ככה שהעבודה הזאת מתאימה להם וגם לנו, וזה ממש win-win situation.
The job is based on trust. The walkers have access to the dog owner's apartment and are responsible for the animals. The one-eyed pit bull, Moshiko, was considered an aggressive problem dog. But since Eva, who recently arrived from Austria, regularly takes him to the park, he's gentle as a lamb.
First, you have to earn his love and respect. And he is a dog that accepts and needs rules, especially him, especially this type. But then he is a really good friend, a real cuddler.
To prove that the dogs are really having a good time in the park, the carers have to send a picture to the owners via WhatsApp. Adi also gets a copy. Adi has arrived in Ramat HaChayal, the Silicon Valley of Tel Aviv. Israel is a startup nation. Many Israelis received good IT training during their 3 years in the military and find well-paid jobs here. Adi has an appointment with The Time, a think tank for smart living apps. The Time is an incubator for lucrative startups. Under the leadership of Yuri Weinheber, 40 digital companies receive seed funding and training. In one of the laboratories, specialists are tinkering with a device that will supposedly revolutionize the relationship between man and dog. Ogi creates motion profiles. Dogs instinctively hide illnesses so as to not be easy prey for their predators. The device detects changes in their patterns of movement and alerts their owners. This is the device. It fits on every collar, it's light and easy to attach. In Yuri Weinheber's office, Ogi inventor Yoni is showing Adi the early warning device. This analyzes the algorithms of the different phases. The results show patterns: sniffing, scratching, barking, head shaking and resting.
sniff, itch, bark, shake, head shake, static, posture.
Can one detect if a dog is limping? Yes, the system works so that the algorithm learns. We've measured the data from thousands of dogs and filmed them. This is a dog. The algorithm recognizes that the dog is walking. I know a lot of dog owners who only notice an illness when it's advanced, chronic, or even something life-threatening like cancer. I think a device like Oggy could save a lot of lives. There are, of course, financial interests that lie behind Oggy. Dog owners will go to the vet more often. We're happy. In the last year, we've received tens of thousands of orders from vets. I think in a few months, this product will be available in Europe. A chaotic mix of different building styles characterizes the cityscape of Tel Aviv. Hidden within are architectural treasures. In the 1930s, Bauhaus architects who had escaped Nazi Germany erected 4,000 buildings of pure elegance. Today, many are still relatively well preserved and part of the UNESCO World Heritage. For a long time, the centerpiece of the city was Dizengoff Square, a roundabout where 6 roads meet with shady benches and a fountain in the middle. Despite residents' protests, the square was raised several meters and a tunnel system was built underneath for the traffic. For the architect Yael Moria, the concept is outdated.
That was in trend, separating the cars from the pedestrians so the cars could drive faster and ensure people's safety. That was the reason for the separation, but it has created an underworld.
For the neglected square to once again become one of Tel Aviv's urban jewels, Yael Moria wants to lower it again by 5 meters. Cars and pedestrians will come together again on the same level. Yael Moria doesn't just want to change the flow of traffic.
It is an attempt to return the feel of the sunset to this place. Twilight is extremely important in Tel Aviv. With the right lighting, I want to bring the sea back to this place.
Yael wants to give Tel Aviv residents the feeling that they are in a shared living room. Her biggest challenge is that there is no common cultural history here.
Tel Aviv is ugly, in a beautiful way. The ugliness is a part of the beauty. When we meet in the town building department and discuss projects, we always use examples from Paris, Brussels, or London. They are always from somewhere else. I don't think that we have a clear identity. But it is exactly this lack of identity that makes Tel Aviv what it is.
Dealing with everyday terror is mirrored in the city's graffiti. One of the stars of the urban art scene is Dedin, an urban tourist as he calls himself. Like many street artists, he wishes to remain anonymous, as his art is on the edge of the law. In many ways, my art is an escape. It's like therapy that my body and my brain have created to offload all the tension. Dede has a nickname in the graffiti scene, Band-Aid. It's his tag and can be found throughout the city on on different walls and signs. It feels like a very Israeli sign. It symbolizes a problem and temporary solution. You just put a plaster on it and pretend the problem will go away. Dede's art focuses on identity and alienation, isolation and escape from the world. Nowadays, his work is shown internationally and the city commissions pieces from him. In his studio in the Florentine area, he is sketching a new picture for his series of animals made from wood. They are a way to bring you to a different place. Sometimes, alongside the wood, you can see houses and whole cities in the animals, like a mobile city that can fly away and land somewhere else. 2 rams are also part of the artwork. They represent the conflict between Israelis and the Arabs. The title, The Promised Land. Dede grew up in Tel Aviv and knows every corner of the city. This is a great place to make art. Lots of walls and urban corners are an inspiration. Every part of town, every street is different. The walls have character. The artist is often inspired by events. He drew the gluttonous jaws of terror onto the Dolphinarium, a disco that was destroyed in the 2001 attack. Salt, wind and rain have worn away the colors. This transience represents the transience of life. You have to do everything immediately, today, because we won't be here tomorrow. Just yesterday, there were 3 attacks with 2 casualties. Life, especially in this country, drives you to enjoy every day. You don't know where you'll be tomorrow. Sometimes people call me, and I don't even notice. I'm in my own world. I just keep working. It's like meditating. It clears my head. The birds symbolize freedom. They can be somewhere else in an instant. They can fly away. They're migratory birds. One day they're in the south, and the next day they're suddenly in the north in a different country. Or at least that's what one thinks. Constant sunshine and a booming economy ensure that Tel Aviv remains a popular immigration goal. Its inhabitants live in a bubble where life is pulsing. Late in the evening, the moment has finally arrived. The champion of champions in bodybuilding is to be chosen. The long waiting period before the performance is grueling. Maria hasn't eaten for days. Not even drunk water in the last few hours, so that she looks good.
It's very stressful to take that first step into the direction of the stage and stand in front of everyone in a tiny bikini. I am judged, who I am and how I am, but I think I will win this year.
And she does. Maria becomes the champion of the champions. It's not just the white nights in June that go into the early morning. The 24-hour city is considered the hippest in the Near East. It may have something to do with the omnipresent threat that makes the here and now so important for its inhabitants. At vegan Georgian restaurant Nanushka, there is dancing on the tables every night. Why is it important to celebrate life?
Because life is full of worries, very short, and death is always at your door. That's why you always have to celebrate life, as if every day were the very first of your life.
לחגוג אותם כאילו זה היום הראשון של החיים שלך.